Alright, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Um, in a few minutes, in about 2 minutes, Variants Only and Chicken Crossroad will play their 1-0 um, Crazyhouse World Championship match, and it will be a 30-game match, as all the previous matches. It's been a while since we had a match, at least on my channel, so it's good to get some commentary in again. And they will start in 2 minutes, so therefore I will take a quick peek at the standings first. And we have Alproazen finishing all his games on 145 points, and Jan Lee one match remaining, and also looking very solid to secure that second spot, and or even the first spot if he wins with a deficit of 20.5 or more against Little Plotkin in his last match. And the rest of the field probably won't be able to match the score, so most likely we will see a Jan Lee versus Alproazen final in this Crazyhouse World Championship, but still the remaining matches are to be played. And I hope all the candidates will indeed finish their matches. They don't get any prize money if they fail to schedule their matches, I believe. So that's a good incentive, I'd say. And here we have Master 10 also finishing all his matches, it seems. So a few more remaining. Plotkin himself, the organizer, needs 4 more. And a couple of guys still needs 3 more matches. But today we're gonna have Variants Only versus Chicken Crossroads. And Variants Only is probably better known as international master Meneer Mandje on this on Lichess, but he likes to use this account to play his variants. What's in the name? The previous match I saw of Variants Only, he played a lot of the a4 rook a3 and a5 rook a6 sort of crazy openings, trying to put catch his opponents off guard, but it didn't work out the way it's supposed to go, I think. Let me just check what he did in his previous matches. Yeah, he's been struggling a lot, as you can see. Against Opera Jan and Penguin, he didn't score that good. Against Master 10, 12, 18, that's pretty respectable. But I think against Chicken, he does have a chance if he tries to play in more known lines instead of these a4 rook a3 openings. So I'm looking forward to that. Hi Charles, welcome. And well, Chicken Crossroad, let's introduce him as well. He will be very quick on the mouse, as well as Variants Only, so it will be very tense time troubles, I think, if they manage to get in situations below 5 seconds. But also Chicken Crossroad is a very experienced Bughouse player and Crazyhouse player as well. He has been playing the game for a long time. When I started to play the game about 8 years ago, he was already very strong and one of the top guys. All right, I guess we are going to start. They have clicked in the first game, and as you can see, there are not a lot of games between them, just 4 games. But that's no indication. I think Variants Only will be putting up a very great match here. Okay, and immediately we see some funny play by VariantsOnly, putting the queen on g6 very early. Maybe he has prepared something here. He's eyeing this pawn on e4 immediately, since there's the spin. Now probably knight c6. And well, queen e2, I don't know if that's the best response. But he's getting an advantage on the clock here against chicken, so I guess his preparation worked. Improved rook lift. He's calling out in the chat, yeah, on Discord we were... Opper Wazen was saying that maybe if VariantsOnly skipped the rook lift, he would be very strong, or stronger even than he is already. And indeed, this looks to be going his side. 20 seconds deficit, and an okay position. Chicken trying to get something in. But these squares look dangerous. Pawn at a2, for example, at some stage, just in between, trying to promote. And now 5 seconds left. But chicken trying to get an attack in, bishop at h6, using this pawn. And he's found something here. Pawn at b5. Or even queen takes c4 was also coming. So, okay. VariantsOnly not taking the first game. I was banking on him to take that one. He had a very strong position on the clock as well as on the board. But as I said beforehand, chickencrossroad being very fast there. Quick attack, and he had some time left on the clock. Alright, here we have this rook lift I was talking about earlier. VariantsOnly likes to play this. You can't accept the sacrifice, and then you'll have to know how to use the rook. But now with the rook being on g3 and the open h file, there might be some chances here. For example, a pawn at g5 in the future will be annoying. Maybe even bishop at g5. Okay, he opts for bishop at e7. Eyeing at g7. Now maybe he wants to take d5. Okay, no, he wants to go to e3 and harass this bishop. That's a free bishop. He missed it. But he is trying to break open, as you can see. Pawn here, pawn at g5, h6, pawn at h6. But alright, he sacrificed some rook, so chicken will be able to use the back rank maybe. Dropping a pawn at h3, blocking the h file. So the h file is no longer in play now, and VariantsOnly has to make use of the dark squares. Chicken sacrificing some pieces here. That walks into bishop takes and pawn at d2. This is going chicken's way, definitely. Bishop at f4, queen g5. Yeah. Quickly took over the attack there, knight at f5, and was a blunder. Running into a checkmate. Okay, we see this queen f6. This is new for me. It's looking interesting. You get a quick attack at g6. You deny bishop d3 because queen takes g2. Maybe you want to play bishop d3 and sacrifice it. Also interesting. It's good to see that VariantsOnly is pulling out some new idea. That's very useful as a match strategy. And now let's see if we can try to convert this time advantage and stay ahead on the clock. I guess this is one of the drawbacks, that the pawn at g5 now will capture the queen. Alright, he's going for h4, and chicken is trying to fight back in the center. In chess, that's usually a very good idea. When someone pushes on the center, you push back in, or pushes on the flank, you push back in the center. And it seems to be working out for chicken so far. Looks like he has defended, but now he has to watch out for d2. That's a good switch, and he finds the mate. Variants only. Good job. And 2-1 chicken, so both players are now on the board, and Variants only is putting up a good fight, because I think maybe chicken is the slight favorite for this matchup. Maybe even the heavy favorite, I don't know. But so far it's looking quite even. Okay, this knight at e2 is defending d4, but it's cramping up his pieces a bit. Okay, yeah, now he puts it out on the board. But already you see the king is on g8, maybe a bit exposed, but all the pieces of chicken are developed here. And the queen bishops are still doing nothing. So chicken is in the driver's seat this game, I'd say. Winning the queen here, going probably for a pawn at g2, pawn at e2 play. Taking the defender away from e2. And now Variants only will probably resign. Okay, not yet. He's trying to fight on. Queen at b3, blocking off the defense, and now pawn at e2, knight at g2 was made. Not starting with the check there on e2, but first blocking off the exit. Alright, queen d3, threatening a queen b5 move, and even maybe queen f5 ideas. Something on d7 maybe, but knight at b4 pushes the queen back. Thanks for the subscription, Nazgul, Narsil76. Appreciate it. Alright, let's see what happens. Queen a6, threatening c6, and maybe trying to break open this side of the board. Variants only needs at least 2 moves to castle. So yeah, this is looking good for chicken. He's winning this rook, but not with check. So maybe pawn at d2 can come in strong. He has to go for it. Variants only. Promote. Take b2. I started playing Crazyhouse around what is it? 2010, 2011, I guess. Something like that. Okay, I guess Variants only had to go for the promotion there, but okay, he thought otherwise. So chicken going 4-1, taking an early lead here. Now Variants only with this solid d4 setup. But chicken has his solid pawn structure as well, with the knights on e7 and c6. They can jump to useful squares. So that's a good response to this opening system. And now bishop at b1, guarding d3, not allowing any knight takes d3 stuff, and then pawn at e4 may be annoying. But the bishop on h3 is slightly misplaced, can be traded off anytime chicken wants it. For example, now knight takes d3, pawn at g4 maybe. Okay, he goes pawn at e4. It's probably slightly better, because now you can use the f3 square. Rook back, and now he has to watch out for pawn at f3. He's defending actively, trying to get e6. Now the rook is blocked So VariantsOnly doing a good job playing active and defending this f3 square, which is clearly the biggest weakness in his position. And now Chicken is trying to trade the knights and then go knight at h4. VariantsOnly so far not allowing it with the knight sacrifice here. But now he's down 10 seconds, and although VariantsOnly is very fast, Chicken can hold his own in these scrambles, and he is winning now. Winning the queen, no trouble at home. So VariantsOnly dropping a few checks in, but they should be made. There we go. Alright, we see the same line again. Chicken feeling confident enough to go into this. And who could blame him? He's getting okay positions, and he's winning a few games in these lines. And maybe he does not want to test the rest of the opening preparation by VariantsOnly, and that seems fair enough as well. Alright, setting up the pieces here to defend his king, and trying to consolidate the early queen g6 move, and now claiming that the queen is maybe a bit misplaced on f6. He would like a knight for c7, so maybe he'll try to trade it. There he has it already, but knight takes f3, maybe awkward. Okay, VariantsOnly dropping the rook on a8. I don't think that's good. I think he had to go something like bishop at a5 in between maybe. And Chicken sacrificing his queen here on d6. Moving up, not going back. Not having to deal with rook at c7. Noticing, okay, I'll just walk up and walk back to h6 and maybe be safe. But pawn at f5, it's covered with the knights and the bishop. But he walks into rook at h5 and the queen falls with check. Now VariantsOnly has it on the clock. Chicken took too much time finding the mate there, and then on probably realizing he was down a lot on time. So VariantsOnly takes his first flag there. And now, okay, now rook lift this game. Playing a bit more standard game. Going d3 though. d4 may come after this. d3 is a bit safer. It's covering the important e4 square. And now he's trying to be annoying on c6. Ignoring the c6 knight and going for e6. Maybe bishop at d4 after this. Remember, the knight is still pinned. Okay, but how to follow up here? Chicken will use these pieces. Knight at f5 maybe, knight at h4. Trying to counter. Okay, he's going in on d4. Maybe using the c3 square later on. There are lots of holes here in the white position. Going bishop at g5 to make him block on f4 and get an extra pawn. And maybe he won't need that extra pawn, but it might prove useful later on. Alright, but the king seems safe on e2 here. Chicken needs a knight or maybe a pawn at f3. And now VariantsOnly can try to find a counter attack here. Doesn't look easy though. Knight at d6, rook f1. Getting a few checks in here, and now we see the mouse race. With VariantsOnly having the check. Okay, now they both go crazy with the king, and chicken takes it with the dirty queen before check in the end there. Alright, we see a b3 opening now of chicken, switching it up with the white pieces. And this usually is about blocking off this bishop, trying to not allow that bishop into play for black. And on the other hand, white of course tries to open up this diagonal. Okay, the queen is hanging here, but he decides to go here because trades, and then a rook on a8 will be very annoying. So he's deciding to leave the rook here on d8 for defensive reasons. Now he's trying to take here maybe. Knight takes e5. d7 is a weak point though. If white to move now, pawn at d7 will be made. And this knight on e7 is blocking all the pieces. If you have watched before, you know I always say remove the bishop. The king needs the square on f8. And sometimes of course you can get away with it, but it's a useful advice, and maybe you even can get away with pawn at e6 here, just blocking off the retreat. Okay, he finds the mate. Well done by chicken. 7-2 so far. So the previous games and up to 4-1 it seemed like VariantsOnly had reasonable chances in the games, but now he seems to be getting a bit outplayed by chicken, resulting in this 7-2 deficit. And already chicken is getting in on d3 or winning the queen, and this is looking very awkward for VariantsOnly already. Trying to get at d3, winning an extra pawn, and now the queen will probably back off and maybe get some pawn at a2 in. Okay, he decides to sacrifice the queen even. I think that's a bit premature, but maybe he can get away with it. Bishop at c4. Okay, he goes bishop at a2, threatening bishop at b1 as well as bishop at b3. Bishop at b3 now, king d3, and work the other bishop in maybe. Take the rook, threaten mate. There's no counter-attack just yet. Take another rook. The mate on c1 is threatened again. And VariantsOnly there. Quickly losing it again. And now resolving back to his rook lift opening. Which at least will give him an advantage on the clock, since chicken is trying to figure out how to play this. Probably has not played it that much against this. And the advantage of this opening is that usually in normal chess the rooks are better than the bishop and the knights, but in Crazyhouse they're about even, because the rook advantage in chess is always in the endgame, or most of the times. And Crazyhouse does not know endgames, since the pieces still get recycled all of the time. So chicken opted to use the rooks on g1 and h1. Very defensive positions, but it's giving him a sense of security here. Chicken trying to arrest the queen, maybe get a queen at f8 in, or queen at g8, that's his idea. But now he has to move the bishop back, and VariantsOnly can try to attack here. Rook takes. This should be his game. He needs another knight to mate, but it's looking very good. Maybe he can get away with pawn at f2 and something like that. I think he's safe on b8. Dropping the queen though, that's not good. And this is not a draw because the threefold repetition doesn't happen. Actually, because the sets of pieces off the board change. So you saw the repetition of move there on the board with pawn at f2 and the knight check. But actually it won't be, the server does not recognize it as a draw because the sets of pieces on in the bank there don't change. And some other websites don't use that rule, they just see the position on the board, but I think this is the way to go, but I don't know, maybe someone has a better argumented position of that rule, the draw rule. Alright, chicken taking this game again, getting in on f3. Oh, sorry about that. Threatening queen at d2 mate. And VariantsOnly having a tough time. Okay, switching it up, b6, g6. Desperately trying to getting something in. Yeah, Roman, VariantsOnly having a tough time giving up easy queens. Yeah, it's not the same position since the pawns have switched hands. But I remember on some websites it does get counted as a draw. Alright. Bishop at g4, trying to defend. The rook can be taken with check, but maybe he will preserve the knight on e6, being a very strong piece. Okay, he decides to trade. Maybe pawn at f5. Maybe he's thinking about sacking his queen afterwards. And then h5 was possible. But even still, okay, he just goes bishop back at e2 and getting the bishop in that way. VariantsOnly going queen h6 and then bishop takes f6. Now the queen provides safety back home. King h8 maybe was possible even. Now queen takes d2 should be mate. He has little time to find it. Knight here, knight at b3. And he finds the mate in time. 1.7 left. He found the right idea, blocking the rook on a2 and then sacrificing his queen. Nice game by VariantsOnly. And hopefully he will get back in the match. Okay, I've misclicked something, so I'm not following. The match should be okay now. So that's good. That's got to be good for the confidence of VariantsOnly, getting a game in after getting pretty much slaughtered 5 games in a row. And this game also seems to be going okay for VariantsOnly. Chicken has some pressure on the light squares maybe. Later on, now he's just trying to get in on c3. But the bishop's covering the dark squares. So probably Chicken has to switch it up with bishop at g4 maybe. Trying to use the light squares. There we have it. These are a bit weak. This is looking a bit awkward. But maybe it holds. The bishop is doing a good job of covering these squares. Knight at h4 is a useful move here for black, but he cannot play it. Okay, he's going in sacrificing on d2, and now you see the disadvantage of this. You have no king d2 to block off or to trade. Knight at c4, cleverly blocking d2, and then queen at takes f1, and rook at e1 was going to be made. So chicken bouncing back with a convincing victory. Alright, and we see a bit of a switch in opening again with an early knight g4. Chicken going for knight f5. This can't be good. VariantsOnly trying to tactically solve his problems, but knight takes g7 in the end there. Already looking very good for chicken, and he found a tactic. If you take with the d pawn, the queen falls. So next move he can maybe take the bishop or take the queen, his pick. He takes the queen. Pawn at f6 next, there's a mating threat. The king is perfectly safe here on d1. No rook or queen for mate. No tricks with knights on b2 or anything. Pawn at e7, realizing the knight needs to join. And now knight takes e7 wasn't possible. Queen e7 was fine as well. Better even. Alright, 12-3. We're at the halfway point. For those not knowing what the format is, it will be 30 games of this 1-0 Crazyhouse. And well, clearly chicken will win the match probably. that's a safe thing to say at this point. But it will be about board points, so he has an incentive to play on after that. It's not just winning with six when you have 16 you win. No, you just need to play all 30 games. So it's going to be tough for VariantsOnly if he only gets 3 wins in the first 15 games. Would be good for him to get some more in. Good for the morale, I think. Yeah, bishop at f3, blocker, queen takes g2. Alright. And now switching it up. Trying to catch him in a pre-move there. The cheeky bishop g4, but chicken not falling for it, and easily already getting a very strong attack in. The king has to move to d7 or f7. But okay, he won the piece back, VariantsOnly. Or at least he's winning some time. Okay, if you block with the pawn, knight at g6 will come. Maybe knight g6 still comes. But for now he's eyeing d5. And that's following with pawn at c7 maybe, or bishop at c7, forcing the queen off. But even now forcing the queen off. Queen e8 too strong, I believe. Maybe knight at e7 was a forced mate as well. I don't know. Variants doesn't see any chances and resigns. Okay, b4. And we see chicken trying to catch VariantsOnly in the pre-move there with a5. Now we have a bit of a rook lift by chicken maybe. Maybe d4 was interesting. We'll never know. Maybe we'll play it later on. Knight takes c6, forking everything. Chicken ignoring it. He can take the queen, but then I'll have you. And queen d6, that's nice. Threatening queen takes h2 if you took the rook. So he has to take e7 first. And even now bishop takes h2. And this again, the king has no way to run. And VariantsOnly resigns already. Very well spotted there by Chicken. Okay, this queen d5, queen e6 seems like another offbeat line by VariantsOnly, but it has been seen a bit more than his queen f6, queen g6 lift. And it's been in practice by more players. And he seems to get an okay position out of the opening. Watch out for d5 though, or bishop c4 first. Bishop c4 first, that's a free check basically. Queen at g5, okay, queen at f7, and he finds mates. Yeah, it feels like VariantsOnly is not finding his groove. He's trying to play some openings, some offbeat openings, and Chicken is just refuting them most of the time. Queen at g4, forking g5 and g2. I have to answer with queen at g3 maybe. Now knight d4 walks into queen takes e5. So that's not possible. Maybe it's possible now. Okay. He goes for queen at g6, defending h5. That's wise, because there was coverage needed for f7. So what to do here? Queen e8. Knight d5 comes in. You have to trade there. Bishop takes g5, I believe. That's a free move. You have to block with the knight. So why not? Maybe there was d6 there and knight at d5 instead of this. I felt like that was very strong, but okay, he decided against it or did not see it. Watch out for knight at f3 by Chicken if you can't find the mate here. Queen at f6, you just run and you are safe. Bishop b4, winning the queen and just taking the queen, realizing VariantsOnly is in time trouble. And now queen here will be mate. Yes. Very well executed by Chicken. In the games that VariantsOnly does have a chance, Chicken makes him feel like he does not have a chance. It seems like Chicken is then just putting up a better fight. Okay. Again with the early queen. But it's going to get kicked out with bishop at h3 if you don't pay attention. So knight at h3 comes. But now maybe he can just take the knight actually. And then bishop at g2. Okay, he goes knight at f4, covering g2 as well. And then a sack by VariantsOnly, but only a knight in hand. The bishop diagonal gets the knight with e5, so he can't get in. Pawn at h6, getting queen at g7 in. And now bishop takes h6 maybe. Rook at g8, good enough. Chicken finding the mates before I can call them out. Very quick play here. And 22-3. Remember when I was calling it half time, it was 12 against 3. Oh, this is the overall score. It's 18 against 3. Sorry. They had 4 more games before. But even then, 6 games in a row. Or even more now. Chicken is going for a VariantsOnly throat here. Oh, alright. But VariantsOnly now finding something. Maybe. A lot of light pieces in the hands of Chicken though. Take the rook. Then you have 2 rooks in hand, but nowhere to place them. So he does not take the rook and tries to remain active here with the bishop. And now chicken coming in, pressuring g2. Pawn here, pawn here. Make your pick, probably pawn at d4 and then try to get in f3. Alright, he decides to go for g3, since the queen and rook are piling up on it. But there are some defensive resources here, and knight at h5, that's nice. I think you can take the rook here. This is looking good for variants only. Rook at c8, forcing king d7, otherwise you lose the queen with check. He's trying to force him to take the rook. King e6. Still safe. And he takes the queen, and now he has to defend here. But chicken only on 1.9, so he's pre-moving, but he did not find a check there on e2. So variants only bouncing back finally with his 4th victory. Alright, this is queen takes d4, bishop e3 is a known good for white, I believe. And already looking very tricky. Bishop a6 may come in at some stage, or at least the bishop is controlling an important square. Now knight at b8. Already resigning, yeah. That did not go well, the opening there for variants only. So 19 against 4, that means that we have 7 more games. And chicken just playing very, very strong. Now dropping the d5 pawn or the f6 knight. So variants only won some material there in the opening, but now already having to give it back. And now with the pawn on h3, it's looking a bit off. He could have taken the pawn back though, but he's trying to find an attack here. Bringing the queen in on h5. Something like that. Okay, he's going rook e1. Maybe he wants to play e5. Control these squares. Maybe take f6. It's looking strong indeed. Queen h5 is possible after maybe. I would like to see queen h5 now. Okay, goes queen f3. But now there's no queen f7. But he sacks the queen. With what purpose though? Knight d5. You can take that maybe. And try something knight at e2. Knight at e2 feels mate, but I don't know why. Maybe knight at g1 to follow or something like that. But no time for chicken. Okay, variants only has it. Thanks for the subscription, Aha Tokia. Thanks very much. Alright, so variants only getting his 5th win. Chicken maybe getting a bit sloppy, or just variants only playing very tenaciously. Either way, he's won 2 out of the last 3 games. So maybe in the last 6 games he will get some more wins in. But this is looking good for chicken. The light squares are defended for variants only, but the dark squares are very weak here. So he feels like he needs to sacrifice his queen to create some dark square safety. But if you take the knight now, bishop at g6 comes in. So he's going for some desperado here. But the king is perfectly safe here. Even on e1 now. Knight at c4, pawn at b2 was of course bad if you go king c1. Alright, going for the bishop sacrifice. Bishop at d4 seems the correct response. threatening f2 and covering the knight takes e5 threat, and then saving his knight. Okay, let's see how this is looking. I think chicken has a good chance here with this light square weakness. Rook takes f2 maybe. Rook takes f2 is threatening something here, and you can't take it because knight takes f2 is strong. But he goes with the knight first. Now bishop at f3, surely. You can take here or you can take on g2. Knight at e3, forking. Pawn at g2, rook at h1. Rook at f1. That's more accurate, since you win the queen and then mate on g2. Strong find. Alright, bishop c5, allowing stuff on f7, and then saying, okay, I'm better developed or something like that. So chicken feels the need to play d4 and pawn d3, gaining a tempo on the bishop. And now maybe he will move the bishop back. No, he does not. He's saying I will play bishop at b3 and pawn at f5, or I will try to get in on your dark squares. Don't know if you can allow this queen trade though. But chicken not going for it. Pawn at b4 and maybe some knight takes e4 ideas. Okay, he's going straight for b2. Seems like a good idea as well. Defending with knights and bishop in one move. That's a nice find. And now this probably is going to be strong for chicken. The light squares. Pawn at c6, knight at c5, and then pawn at b7 was going to come in strong. But he decides he wants to play pawn at b2 first, get some safety. And chicken not mating just yet, so maybe VariantsOnly takes over. If you move back, you lose with bishop at a3. So looking dangerous here, but VariantsOnly is too low on time. And even pawn to b4 is made with the king on a4. Nice one. A winning king. Alright, going for the bishop sack again. But chicken has switched up this opening, so I feel like when the knight is not on c6 and the pawn already on d6, it's a bit less dangerous to sacrifice the bishop for the black pieces. If you take now here, you will open up the rook, so he's trying to be aggressive, winning f2, winning g1 or h4. Have your pick. And if you take, knight at e3 comes in. So the knights even can be traded now maybe. Then knight at e3, king e2, knight at d4. Looking strong. Maybe there's even something better here. I don't think you are mated just yet. Maybe you need to defend this, but okay, going bishop at g4. Saying, will you need to block her? And then you cannot use this piece in the attack anymore. And now queen at e3 is a mating threat. Let's see, I feel like bishop takes f3 maybe was in order there. And then pawn at e2. But he goes pawn at f2, arresting the rook and threatening queen at e1. Let's see, maybe I can do this. No, I can't. I was testing if I can... there are keyboard shortcuts nowadays that you can use to drop your pieces instead of dragging them, but it's not working when you're observing. Alright, we have the queen f6 idea again, and queen g6. And this is similar to the first game, the queen e2 idea for the defense. We saw this in the early games. And after the, now maybe knight f4, trade queens, but then maybe knight e4 came in, so the knight is probably better on d5. Trading queens here. Getting a rook for his problems, chicken. Rook at g8. Need to block. Only had the queen in hand, so opting for bishop f8. But this is not good enough, I feel like. And queen at d1 was threatened. So now maybe you can go pawn at d3. But queen at h5. Was threatening f7, so knight d8 back. Now the queen is defending at home. But maybe a trade will be good enough here. Queen at e4 maybe. Taking the rook instead. Now pawn at d7, knight at c6 is dangerous. Chicken opting for a defensive knight there, trying to win on the clock maybe. And we have a time trouble dance again. Variants only with the check, but chicken taking over. And queen e2 walking into the checkmate. That was a funny one. Funny time scramble. Alright, last game. And it looks like chicken has lived up to his favorite status here. And going for the last one as well. Knight here, maybe h3. Going knight with the knight. Knight at f4, then pawn g2, threatening mate. h3, knight g5 should be enough. Okay, goes queen d7 first. Don't know about that decision. Now he has an extra bishop in hand. Maybe that's what the idea was. I think knight takes e3 is also fine. Bishop at h3, take, queen at f3, king g1, knight takes e3. Good games. Congratulations to chicken. Very well played. And he wins 24-6 against variants only. Let's take a quick look at the standings. Let's see. 24, that will put chicken almost at 100 points, and with one match remaining versus Penguin, he probably will be able to catch or is already in third place, catching Master 10. So good job there for chicken. Doesn't seem like he will. It's theoretically possible that he will catch Jan Lee or Upper Wazen. Alright, well played.